All right, guys. So how's it going? Just want to be going over how Cam Olivera went from making 20K wholesaling to now making 100 grand wholesaling. He's not even wholesaling at this point, and I'm also going to be breaking down the exact webinar script that he uses, which is his conversion mechanism to turn a viewer coming on his Instagram or his YouTube and turning them into a paying customer. So the main process that I like to take is taking his attention into interest, into desire, into action, and then of course, like I said, going over the webinar script in case you're an operator or you're a coach that wants to implement this conversion mechanism. So if we get into the attention itself, he's getting it from three different places, right? Number one, he's on Instagram with 100K followers, on YouTube with 4,000 followers, and then on TikTok with 150K followers. So combined total of around 300 if I'm doing the math right. But basically, all he's plugging in his bio is going to be the register for the webinar. In here, he's also plugging the register for the webinar and pushing Instagram and TikTok and then registering for the webinar. For his YouTube, I'd probably just push to the webinar. I wouldn't even add the Instagram or the TikTok, but he's doing that. And then as you can see, his videos are gaining 30K views, and his YouTube ones are barely crossing over 1K. And then his TikTok ones are actually doing very well. So his target audience is mostly young people that are aspiring entrepreneurs looking to start making money online, and they think that wholesaling is the way to go, which is how he makes it seem inside of his Instagram and his videos and whatnot. But inside of his Instagram, he's using the broadcast channel, the feature on Instagram that allows you to plug. It's kind of like text messages, kind of like a WhatsApp community, without allowing his viewers to actually text back. It's only him texting and him plugging his own stuff, right? And then as well as his content is all connected to ManyChat. So he does send you a YouTube link if you comment a certain word. As you can see here, he makes you comment the word contract and then uses ManyChat to send you a YouTube video. And then of course his YouTube channel itself, he's plugging content, client interviews, to make sure that he's raising that social proof. So by the time that you jump on the call, you're pretty much sold and ready to buy. So that moves us into the interest phase, which is being ran on ClickFunnels. And on here, as you can see, it's just a headline: how to get your first wholesale real estate property under contract in the next 90 days. Quantifiable metrics always work. He also has a timer right here counting down to when the class actually happens, what you're going to be seeing inside. So setting the agenda, your host, who he is, what he's done, and then a ton of testimonials and results, and then register now, right? CTAs, register now, register now, register now, just pushing people in the right direction towards the webinar funnel. Now, when you click register now, you get taken to this opt-in form, which is going to collect your first name, your email address, and your phone number for two reasons. The email address is going to be added into an email nurturing sequence, and then the phone number is going to be added into an SMS retargeting sequence, which I'll show in just a second. Once you get past this interest phase or signing up for the webinar, there's a short little instruction booklet that you should follow. You join his community. There he's going to be plugging the link, making sure that the show up rate to that webinar is extremely high. Here's the link for the webinar itself. And then there's like a class checklist. So he makes it seem, he disguises the pitch as if the webinar is like the free workshop, like a free class that you can attend. Then of course at the end there's a pitch, but he makes it as value packed as possible. So he's providing the value up front and providing a ton of goodwill. So by the time he pitches at the end of the webinar, it's an easy sale, right? Once you sign up, you get a confirmation email, and then you get put through the SMS retargeting. So as you can see, the emails right here, all they're doing is making sure that you're making sure that you're going to show up to his class. So it's like, don't miss it, don't miss it, don't miss it. I want you on Thursday's live call. Click here to sign up. Click here to join me. Just input your information. And then he's just plugging. And then after you sign up, he pushes the application link to the application page, which I'll show in just a second. But the SMS retargeting, super simple too. You're signed up for my live wholesale. Check your email for updates. See you soon. Going live at 7 p.m. Link. That's pretty much all it is. You guys can just screenshot this or copy it yourself if you guys are going to run the webinar. And then for the desire section, this is the actual webinar script. So if you want, you could pause and take screenshots so you could implement it yourself, or just follow along kind of just to see how he formats his webinar. So all he does right here is a big promise to start it off. The headline is how to close a wholesale deal in the next 90 days. That is the whole goal of this webinar class. And if you want to expedite the process or make it easier to sign that wholesale deal, then he's going to invite you with his offer at the end of the webinar. So he sets the agenda. Tonight you're going to learn Keep in mind, this method does not involve without common pain points, testimonial. Then he explains how real estate creates a ton of millionaires, making sure that his business model seems like it's the best solution for these people coming in. Why wholesaling is so powerful. Wholesaling is knowing a ton of technical skills. He explains it a little. Why this opportunity could be life changing. He explained you could do it with a one-man team. You need very little upfront capital. Why tonight is so important for you. How valuable this information is. And then he jumps into his story. Why this information is so valuable, because you're shortcutting the time that it took them to go from 0 to X amount of money. I have a challenge for you. This is actually super cool when it comes to the webinar. He makes sure that people are engaged. So he says, close out all unnecessary tabs on your device, put your phone away, and then take diligent notes. And you might you sign up for a $250 cash giveaway at the end, right? He roll calls you, so he makes sure that people are engaging in the chat, making sure that people are engaged and staying online. As you can see here, there's 500 people inside of the webinar at the moment before he starts. And if you keep track of the numbers, like this already dropped by 4 people by the time he's on the next slide, and it just keeps on dropping and dropping and dropping, right? So then he's just setting the agenda, making sure that they're on the same page, and then he starts going over the actual material. So step 1, step 2 makes it super easy to consume. Step 2, part 1, step 2, part 2, step 3, step 4, as you can see, dropping. It's already dropped 40 people by this point. Step 5. Then he goes over in summary. That main section where he's going over the steps, that's the main bulk of the webinar itself. Then he summarizes it. So he puts in bullet points, as you can see here, what actually was covered inside of the class. By this point, 414 people, so almost 80 people have dropped off. Then he starts slowly transitioning into the pitch. So the way he does this is, number 1, testimonials. He injects a ton of testimonials. Then he goes over his story and makes himself super relatable as the role model person that you're trying to become. Then he goes, unfortunately, I have some bad news for you, breaks the pattern. On our journey, we've had a ton of mistakes, X, Y, and Z. Here's the deal with wholesaling. It's super simple on paper, hard or whatever. It works. More testimonials. By this point, again, the live viewers are dropping incrementally because he is pitching. Here's what this first few weeks look like. There's nothing stopping you from doing the same. Relatable. We have something for you all. This opportunity. Imagine you had access. This is such a smart line to use in any VSL, sales script, whatever it is. When you get the other person on the other side of the screen or the phone or whatever to imagine what it would be like working with you, it changes the game in terms of the sales process. Just because if you get them to imagine before they take the decision, it makes the decision making way easier because they've already imagined themselves having access to your services, having access to your program, your product, etc. So he uses that to transition into the pitch. Then who he wants inside of the program and who he does not want. So person 1 is the person he does not want inside of his program. Person 2 is the person that he wants inside of his program. So again, adding a little bit more friction to make sure that these people are the most qualified. Then he sets, I guess, the expectation of who it is that they're going to be speaking to when they book a call. And by this point, he kind of price drops right here, even though most people don't notice. But he says at least have 2,500. That's what it should cost. And that's what I'm assuming it costs to actually join his program. I wouldn't say that it's higher, anywhere higher than that, but it's 2,500. What you're going to be getting inside, again, bonuses, fast action bonus, fast bonus. By this point, again, more people are dropping, bonus. So here's everything you're getting inside. And then he kind of fizzles out the pitch right here. But all he's going to get you guys to do is book a call with his team. So there's an application form to make sure that the person coming through the qualification, they don't just instantly book a call on the Calendly. They go through that type form in order to qualify them and commit them so that by the time that the closer hops on the call with them, it's an easy close just because this person is super qualified. So if we do some money math in terms of how much he actually makes, if he's charging 2,500 per person that gets closed and he closes 10 people, he makes 25,000 every single webinar. So every week, on Thursday at 7 p.m., he's making 25,000, right? And then he hosts the webinar 4 times per week. Total money made in the month is, of course, 100 grand. And most of it is profit. The margins are pretty slim. Obviously, if he has coaches inside of the program, he's going to have to be paying them. But at most, this guy's making 60%, 70% profit margins, right? And as you can see here, it's super easy. He's only closing 10 people. So it's not like a small paid community where you have to get hundreds and hundreds of people to pay you 50 bucks, 40 bucks, 30 bucks, right? You can never charge more than 100 or 200, right? He gets a couple people, 10 people for 2,500, makes 25 grand, and then is now making 100 grand every month. It's way more quality people. The leads are way better, more qualified, more committed. It's an easier close, etc. Makes the process so much easier. And of course, you'd be crazy to think that Camm is running it all by himself. He has this guy called Ben Bader that is basically converting everybody that comes in. So Camm brings the viewers. He's good at yapping on camera, making YouTube videos, creating content, and then Ben turns them into paying customers, right? And so if you desire to implement this type of webinar model that is making 100 per month for content creators, I have an offer for you, right? So I'll make you 30,000 in the next 45 days guaranteed. And if you want to take advantage of this opportunity, you could book a call down below in the description. There's a Calendly link that will ask you a few qualifying questions to make sure that we're the right fit. And then you could book directly onto the calendar. And this isn't just fake scarcity. I can only actually work with 2 more people this month just because it's such a custom process where we come into your business and build a system, build a client avatar, build a funnel backend system that is completely personalized and custom to your situation. So if you want to take advantage of the opportunity, of course, just click the link in the description below and book a call. And I hope to see you inside.